Hey, it's such a precious honor to have Dr. Hau Lee with us today. Dr. Hau Lee, we know that you were originated from Hong Kong and you have been a Stanford professor for over 20 years at Graduate School of Business. So from your experience, can we hear from you what kind of characters do you look for or other professors look for when they select students?
I think we always want to seek students who are curious. I think curiosity is number one thing. We always wanted students to be interested to learn and explore. And sometimes they would explore new territories that they may not be comfortable with. And so that's a major encouragement that Stanford in general has. And to give you a very specific example is that Stanford has a rule that says that if a student takes a course and eventually, even like a few weeks before the final exam, and they decided that really this is not a course that they could pass or they can comfortably get a good grade, they can drop the course. And the grade would not be recorded in their transcript. So that means that they would not get a failure grade or a grade that's not even incomplete or something. Now, the reason why this is done is because we want to encourage students to be willing to try. So sometimes they will say, wow, this course may be too difficult. This course is completely out of my realm. Can I try it? And many students in the past would be, well, if I try it and if I fail because it's too difficult, it would look very bad. I have a failure grade in my transcript. And we're telling them that, don't worry, try it. Try it. Maybe you like it. Maybe you learn something new. Maybe it becomes a very exciting thing for you to take on. And so we encourage them. And so this idea of encouraging students to try and explore is something very important. And it's very similar to the Silicon Valley spirit. If you think about Silicon Valley, lots of people try startups, they failed. And many startups, they fail multiple times. And there is a saying, which I didn't invent. I think it's just some of the Silicon Valley old-timers says that the secret of Silicon Valley is to fail fast and fail cheap. So it didn't say that they succeed in the first try. No, you fail is okay. Failure is okay, but hopefully you don't fail big. Yeah, because if you fail big and you ruined your whole life or you lost a lot of money, then it would be a problem. So you fail cheap and fail fast. Quickly you learn that it didn't work and then you move on. And I think that is what we're looking for from students. Students, you try. You may not have the right prerequisite, but you still explore because who knows, maybe this is great for you. And I found that sometimes the students started thinking, well, this is not a course for me, or this is not something is right for me. But eventually they discovered that this is their passion and they were able to do something very special. So I think we first always want to look for students who are willing to try. The second thing, so sorry for the long answer, but I hope that
it's a very good one. Thank you.
Yeah, the second one is that we always do not look for the end result. I think I always look for when the students get a final grade and a final exam and they performed well or performed not so well, but I always look for, okay, what happened in the process of their learning. In the process of their learning, what kind of situation they were faced with, or how difficult maybe the family situation and so on, and I have had students who, because in the middle of the quarter, they have a family member who passed away. And it is very, or sometimes they have health problems. Or one of the students, maybe their spouse just gave birth. So it is definitely a challenging situation. And yet they were able to overcome those and continue. And so now if I have to give a grade and if the student is marginal, let's say the top grade or second grade, I always give them, if they were able to overcome those, I would push them up. Now, I was told that in the admission office, we always, students, when they apply to Stanford, they all try to say, well, I have a piano competition and first #1, or I represent the school in a basketball team. So they would recite their accomplishments. And they forgot to mention how they got there. How did you get there? Yeah, well, you got there because maybe you worked very hard, maybe there was others who helped you, or maybe you help others along the way. And I think Stanford, we look for students who, how did they get to where they are? And because that is a potential indication of whether they can continue to be in the future. We want them to be in the future to create new things, to develop new skills, and that is the process that they have. So I think these are the two things that I always, in my years of experience at Stanford, I found those are the very special for the top students who eventually, top meaning that they don't have to be top in exam, right? Top meaning that they were eventually able to do something very much as a innovator, or has a major impact in society. And again, that impact and innovation do not have to be business success. In fact, we have many students who founded social enterprises, who were able to work for even government or become a good educator. And those are all impacts that they could make. It doesn't have to be naturally. Many people thought of, well, Stanford students, they go out and found new companies and Google with that type of companies. Actually, many of us, our students, they just found their passion and they went to Africa and developed a very exciting enterprise could be a social enterprise and make an impact. And we encourage them to do that.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Hau. Yeah, Dr. Hau is very good. So like curiosity and so also the perseverance, right? Through overcome those difficulties. Like life challenges come and go. We never know. But people who can overcome those. And you're a very good professor. You help them to push them up to the grade. Very encouraged.